We've got Hera Hub, Hera Labs, Hera Venture Summit, Hera Fund, Hera Angels. You have a Hera Labs blog site or a Hera Hub blog site?
Yes, we do.
So,
we call it the Hera Herald.
Hera Herald. Okay, so if I've missed any, I apologize.
Yes, no, you got it.
If you can help us navigate through that, that would be great.
Understood. So first, let me just say Hera, or Hera, if you're in Greece, is the Greek goddess of women.
Yes.
And she was said to be very watchful and protected women over every stage of their life. So ironically, just back to the book for a second, the peacock was said to be her symbol because she was known to have big, beautiful eyes, and then again, her watchfulness over women through every stage of their life.
Okay.
So the name and the brand we have extended into a couple nonprofits and a couple other entities. So I'll explain the structure.
Okay.
So I created Hera Hub, the co-working space first.
Yeah.
And we call that the platform. That's the base of everything else that happens, is the actual physical space, the community, the resources, the events, the workshops, everything we do here, that's the base.
Okay.
And then the other entities are sort of layered on there.
Okay.
So if you go to herahub.com, you will see kind of mentions of Hera Labs and Hera Angels and the Hera Venture Summit. But because right now those programs are only in San Diego, we don't put it front and center on our website because we're also in Stockholm, Sweden, and Washington, D.C., and Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And licensees for other locations will have the option to add on curriculum, add on some of these programs as they grow after they have the platform built. Okay. So that's why it's not, so front and center on our site, because our site is serving locations from San Diego to Stockholm.
Sure.
So Hera Labs is a 501c3.
Okay. So it's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit, thank you. Sorry, I don't know why I have to throw the tax code in there. It's a nonprofit. And it is what we call our business acceleration program. Okay. And sometimes we'll refer it to as the educational arm of Hera Hub, if you will.
So it's kind of it's analogous to like an incubator.
Yes, Okay. So we call it an accelerator because Hera Hub being the base, as opposed to an incubator, the concept is like EvoNexus has an amazing incubator. And the concept is you're in for 3 months, you go through the program, and they kind of push you out the other side, right? Here, we're not necessarily pushing you out the other side. You have the co-working space and the community baked in on that platform.
So you can be like in an incubation phase, and that lasts for the beginning time that you're here, but then you can stay here as opposed to other incubators.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So we distinguish that. We call it an accelerator versus an incubator. There's a billion opinions on the difference between those words, but
they're pretty synonymous.
They are. Everybody defines it differently. No, we're an accelerator. No, we're an incubator. Whatever. Anyways, we call it a business accelerator program. It is a 12-week program. Hera Labs has received grant funding from the SBA, Small Business Administration, as well as economic development here in the city of San Diego. So it's a grant-run organization, 12-week intensive program, both from a launch stage, so helping a woman who pretty much is at ideation. I have an idea. Is it even viable? 12-week, once a week, intensive program, mentors, sprints, all kinds of things in that.
So is there a cost associated with that for the entrepreneur?
$2,500, but depending on their situation, they can get a scholarship that's brought in through the grant.
Okay, and so since Hera Labs is a nonprofit, they don't take equity in the startups.
Correct, yeah. And let me just make this distinction too, Patrick. Most of the folks that we are accelerating in that program, they are not the folks that are going to get picked up by EvoNexus. A lot of times these are not businesses that you would even take an equity position in, right? It could be a solo practice attorney who has left corporate and is trying to launch her business.
So something where, in a traditional company suitable for like a venture capital model or angel investment, you ultimately, the investors want to get their money back out because the company's going to get sold or go public. These are more kind of small businesses and a lot of the companies that you're hosting or that are your members, plus the Hera Labs people are small, what do we characterize as small businesses?
Absolutely. A lot of solopreneurs. We do have some small teams. About 7% of our membership are also nonprofit organizations themselves, so we've got small groups there. We do have some folks that are in, say, product development, for example, and are manufacturing products. Vivian Sayward, Vivacity Sportswear. She manufactures a women golfwear line right here in National City. She's been through the Hera Labs program. So, you know, is she angel investable? Depends on the angel, right?
Yeah, depends on the scale.
You know, but might, she might use factoring in her case as opposed to bringing on an angel.
Sure.
Nicole McDonald, one of our other members who developed a handbag called the Sash Bag. She's been through the Hera Labs program. She has gotten sort of a hybrid between a little angel investing and some short-term loan, kind of more of that factoring line. So there's a little bit of that, but I would say 80% of the folks that go through the program are building businesses that they're going to, you know, grow organically.
Sure.
And then we have a growth, so we've got the launch intensive and then what's called the scale intensive. And the scale intensive, also 12-week intense program, are folks that, you know, maybe they've been in business a year or two and they're just trying to get to that next level. So
and Sylvia kind of manages that program.
That is, So again, as it's a nonprofit, she sits on the board. She's the director of the board. We have some other folks that, of course, are on that board as well. And that's really her baby, so to speak. And then she also is an angel investor herself. And so she is Hera Hub's angel investor. We were one of her first portfolio companies. And she has a background. She has a PhD in molecular biology from UCSD. She has an MBA from Rady School, and she worked at UCSD for a number of years in both technology transfer and at the Jacobs School of Engineering. She taught there. Just an amazing woman, incredible background. She was born and raised in Venezuela. She moved here to go to Pepperdine. I mean, she's got the most incredible story. I can't wait till she writes her book. Amazing woman, mother of 3. I mean, just
now, is she still teaching, or is this a full-time gig now?
So Hera Labs, Hera Fund, Hera Angels, Hera Venture Summit. I'll explain that in a second. But she also does. Right now, she's been contracted back at UCSD to develop curriculum for them for some of their programs. So she's not teaching, but she's you know, on that level. So briefly, I'll continue with the Hera family here. So again, Hera Labs, the accelerator. Hera Angels is something she's developed that's also a nonprofit, and that is really an educational arm for women who want to potentially learn about becoming an angel investor.
I see.
So she does quarterly dinners and various events around really encouraging more women to get into angel investing. So if we look at the equity landscape, we know venture capital is obviously, you know, down the line a bit, a different animal, if you will, different stage. But only about 4% of folks in the venture capital world are women. It's said to be about 18% for angels. Again, angels being very early stage, seed stage, so to speak. We want to move that needle. We want to see that, you know, eventually at 50%, right? Because the more women you have that are funding, right, that are laying down checks, potentially the more women you're going to have on the other side of that table. And that's not always the case, but Sylvia always calls it pattern recognition, right? You're an angel investor. You sit down, you see this young guy across the table, and you're like, that was me when I was, you know, 22 years old. Like kind of this connection piece. And so just mixing that up a little bit more, creating more opportunity. So Hera Angels and Hera Labs puts on an annual conference at University of San Diego called the Hera Venture Summit. It's a one-day conference bringing together female founders and female funders for education, networking, support, and resources. And then last but not least, another entity that is also hers is Hera Fund, which is an LLC, and it's pretty simple. It's for some of those early stage companies that want to bring 10 investors in and totally screw up their cap table, having 10, you know, $10,000 investors there. Hera Fund is essentially a vehicle that those investors can come together to make one investment in the company.
Interesting.
Yeah, you got all that?
I got it, and I have it on tape.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I can listen to it and study it later.
Exactly. I know, it seems overly complicated, but you know, it really, again.
But it makes sense. I mean, you've got basically your tribe, you know, your audience out there, you know, they have resource needs. These are natural things that flowed out of, you know, you having to share, you know, a co-working space. And I think it's pretty awesome because then you're able to like service them in more than just one way.
Yes.
So